From Beijing today, where history and geopolitics often converge, a meeting of both symbolism and strategy has unfolded. Russian President Vladimir Putin sat down with Denis Sassou Nguesso, the longtime leader of the Republic of the Congo. Their encounter took place against the backdrop of a massive military parade hosted by Chinese President Xi Jinping, commemorating the 80th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. The images captured by the cameras told their own story. Putin and Sassou Nguesso exchanged a firm handshake, a gesture that may appear routine, but in the current climate carried deep diplomatic weight. For Russia, locked in confrontation with the West, building partnerships abroad is more than symbolic. It is a lifeline. For Congo, a country rich in oil, minerals and timber, ties with Moscow represent opportunity, diversification and leverage. The two leaders walked together into the meeting hall, side by side, signalling mutual recognition. In today's international order, such optics matter. For the Republic of the Congo, reaching beyond traditional ties to France or other Western partners demonstrates that Africa is no longer locked into old alignments. For Moscow, every step beside an African counterpart reinforces the message that Russia is not isolated, but instead forging a global network of allies. Inside the hall, Putin greeted members of the Congolese delegation, extending warm gestures to a group that represents both economic potential and political symbolism. The Republic of the Congo, though modest in population, sits at the crossroads of Central Africa and holds strategic resources that major powers have long sought. By deepening relations with Brazzaville, Moscow signals its intent to anchor itself more firmly on the continent. The leaders then sat across a polished table, interpreters and aides at their sides. It was here that the serious discussions began. While the cameras recorded only brief moments, the real agenda stretched beyond the optics. Trade, investment, security cooperation and diplomatic solidarity were expected topics. Each reflects the growing space Russia seeks to occupy in Africa, a continent where Western influence is being steadily challenged. President Putin spoke first, his tone deliberate, his gestures restrained but confident. Though his remarks were not broadcast in full, his message was unmistakable. Russia sees Congo as a partner on equal footing, not a pawn in global politics. This framing has been central to Moscow's Africa strategy, portraying itself as a respectful alternative to what it calls Western interference. Denis Sassou Nguesso responded in kind. As one of Africa's longest-serving leaders, he is no stranger to navigating the currents of global power. His words, paired with open gestures, signaled interest in deepening cooperation. For Sassou Nguesso, Russia offers more than trade. It offers balance. In a world where African nations are increasingly asserting independence, aligning with Moscow provides another pillar on which to rest Congo's foreign policy. This meeting cannot be understood without the broader backdrop. It unfolded in Beijing, where Xi Jinping had staged a parade of precision and power, thousands of soldiers, armoured vehicles and missiles rolling past in a show of national pride and military might. For Putin and Sassou Nguesso, attending this spectacle reinforced their alignment with China's vision of a multipolar world. Their bilateral conversation, framed within this larger display, underscored how Russia, China and Africa are knitting together new ties. Russia's engagement with Africa is not new, but in recent years it has accelerated. From Mali to Burkina Faso, from the Central African Republic to Sudan, Moscow has offered weapons, military trainers and political support. It has portrayed itself as a partner that respects sovereignty and resists outside interference. For leaders like Sassou Nguesso, who has endured decades of political storms, this message resonates. The Republic of the Congo, heavily dependent on oil exports, has weathered economic volatility and debt crises. Western companies still dominate its energy sector, but political trust between Brazzaville and traditional partners has frayed. By opening the door to Russia, Sassou Nguesso signals both to his people and to foreign investors that Congo has options. It is not bound exclusively to Paris, Washington or Beijing. The optics of this encounter were also powerful. It took place not in Moscow or Brazzaville, but in Beijing, a deliberate choice that placed China at the center of global alignment. Xi Jinping's China provides the stage, while Russia and Congo play their parts. For Beijing, this reinforces its image as the hub of an emerging world order where the global south looks eastward, not westward. Critics in Western capitals will interpret this as an axis of authoritarian solidarity. Putin, Sassou Nguesso, Xi, leaders who prioritize control, stability and sovereignty over Western ideals of liberal democracy. Yet supporters argue it is a pragmatic alignment. Africa seeks partners who invest without political lectures. Russia seeks markets and diplomatic support. China provides the stage and infrastructure. The implications are wide-ranging. Will Russia sign agreements to explore Congo's oil reserves, traditionally dominated by Western giants? Will new arms deals cement military cooperation? Will cultural and educational programs bind the next generation of Congolese elites more closely to Moscow? Each possibility reflects the depth of engagement hinted at in this meeting. Diplomatically, Moscow benefits from African support in international forums. In the United Nations, African states collectively hold a powerful voting bloc. By strengthening relations with Congo, Putin adds another voice sympathetic to Russia's narrative on the world stage. For Sassou Nguesso, the benefit is leverage, the ability to balance relationships with competing powers and extract concessions from each. For both leaders, the personal element matters too. Putin has spent decades in power, navigating sanctions, wars and political crises. Sassou Nguesso has ruled with only brief interruptions since the late 1970s. Both understand the value of endurance and both know how to turn a symbolic handshake into long-term strategy. Observers will debate what this meeting means. For Moscow, it is proof that Russia still commands attention far beyond its borders. For Brazzaville, it is reassurance that Congo remains relevant on the global stage. For Beijing, it is a reminder that China is the platform where such encounters occur. And for the West, it is a challenge, a sign that influence is shifting and that Africa is no longer confined to old spheres of dependency. The meeting may have lasted only minutes in public view, but its significance stretches far. The images of Putin and Sassou Nguesso together, seated in discussion, will echo across Africa and beyond. They tell of a Russia determined to expand, a Congo willing to diversify, and a China eager to host. As aides shuffled papers and cameras clicked, the leaders continued their dialogue behind closed doors. The specifics of what was agreed may take months to emerge, perhaps years to implement. But the direction is unmistakable. The world is realigning and Africa is no longer on the sidelines. This is the story of September 3rd, 2025, a handshake in Beijing, a conversation between Moscow and Brazzaville, and a powerful signal to the world that the map of global partnerships is being redrawn. What seems like a fleeting encounter is in fact part of a larger shift, one that will shape diplomacy, trade and security for years to come. In the theatre of international politics, the smallest gestures often carry the loudest messages. Today, Russia and the Republic of the Congo made sure theirs was heard.
Встречаемся. Работа на этом направлении, работа вместе с Конго.
J'ai encore en mémoire l'événement que nous avons célébré à Moscou